Well, good morning. This is Shannon, and I have another voice note here that I'd like to record. Okay, here it is. So I'm watching this trial. Have you guys heard of the Corey Richins trial that is taking place? Some of you may have seen the story on Dateline about a year ago, and it's fascinating. I love watching these trials because, of course, I'm in law school, so it helps me with evidence and watching the procedures, but also just the testimony and the things that people do and the motivations and the witnesses that come forward, the best friends and the text messages and all the stuff that we do daily, our conversations with people, our text messages, our letters, and all that stuff. You never know when somebody messes up and you get a subpoena and you're told to come in and they got text messages with you conversing with somebody about the affair they're having behind their husband's back, and they're confiding in you, girl, I don't know what to do. I want to break up with him, but I don't. All that stuff now is open on the United States television. Everybody in America is reading your dirty laundry because you killed your husband. Okay, well, you're on trial for killing your husband. So the hero of the day, who if I met her in person, I would give her flowers. Her name is Katie Richins. Katie is, if I ever needed, I don't have a sister, I don't have a blood sister, but if I ever had a blood sister, Katie would be the highest applicant. If I did interviews, Katie would win and she would become my sister. Katie lives in Utah and her deceased brother's name is Eric. Eric, the whole family, they're Mormons, Latter-day Saints. Okay, no surprise, they're in Utah. And he started a successful business, a stone masonry business. He and his buddy, they were both in that. They were both in that church. They grew up together, and this was one of his best friends. They started this business right out of college after he got his bachelor's in international business. They started this business, and it became very successful. And he used to have to go to Home Depot to get the materials, of course, because that's his business. And he would do, home modeling or whatever they do that in that industry. And so because he's always at Home Depot getting the stuff, he talks to the people there. They all know him. Like, hey, Eric, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. So there was a girl named Katie. I'm sorry, not Katie, because that's his sister. There's a girl named Corey, Kouri, in case you want to look up this trial on YouTube. It's fascinating. So Corey works as a cashier at the time at the Home Depot counter. He had a crush on Corey, and somebody in the Home Depot store, one of the coworkers said, hey, Eric, why don't you just ask her out? He said, oh, I don't know. They said, yeah, ask her out. Let me fast forward. They date, get married, have 3 boys, and his business is thriving. She goes back to school, gets her bachelor's after the first son is born, then decides to have another one, goes and gets her master's, and then she had that last one. So she wants to start her business. She sees what the masonry business is doing and the construction stuff, eating all the money he and his buddy are making. And so she says, I want to flip houses. And I already have you as a husband, and you know how to install and fix up and do all this stuff. So, I want to get my business launched. So I guess she took out a loan. Long story short, she gets in debt, you guys. She's not good at flipping houses. Some people just don't have a head for business, or at least that industry, right? She gets over $1 million. I think it was more than $1 million. I got to go back and look. She was in so much debt. So here's what she started doing. This is how you know she's a gambler. Like, she doesn't know when to stop and just file bankruptcy. She goes behind his back and borrows against the house. He had a prenup, which is smart of him. Knowing how she is now, I know why he had a prenup. The prenup was the house is his right now as they're living in it. But when he dies, she gets the house because he has 3 sons. So he's like, the house is yours. But if I'm not dead and we divorce, the house comes with me. That's how we're doing it. Now, you would think she wouldn't trip because she's bought houses because she's a flipper. She's a house flipper. So she can just always say, that's fine. I'll just take one of my houses that I'm flipping, or I can make that one of my backup houses. But no, she wants that house. And I'm going to tell you why she wanted that house, because of its worth. That man was such a good businessman. He was worth about $10 million. He had life insurance policies. He handled his business. I don't know who his attorney was, but he handled his paperwork. And I got to commend Eric, because now that he's dead and his wife's on trial, I know exactly what Eric was doing. And I know Eric had good instincts. And what happened was that house was his, and he gave her power of attorney, in case something ever happened to him. She used her power of attorney and took $250,000 out of that house behind his back. They had to go to marriage counseling behind that. And he told his best friend, Bryce, he said, I don't know if I can trust her. She took $250,000 out of my house. We had a prenup, man. This is not even her house. And he said, I know, you guys, if you're going to get a divorce, get a divorce. He said, I don't want to not see my boys every day. I can't fathom not coming home and seeing my boys. So he was willing to go to counseling and try to work this out with her. He said, she's a mother of my children. I want the house intact for their sake. I want it intact for their sake. So let me see if I can work this out. I don't want them going from house to house and all that stuff. So he's trying to be a good dad, right? So what he did was, he's so smart. He put that house in a trust and made his sister, Katie, the trustee. But he never told Corey, never told his wife, right? So she's still thinking that when he dies, because according to the prenup, when he dies, the house goes to her. She was drowning in debt. Meanwhile, she had a house in another city where she got on Craigslist and solicited a guy to come be like the fixer man. What's the fixer-upper man, handyman? She starts having an affair with him. They got all kinds of texts. I feel so embarrassed for him. Okay, but I shouldn't because he knew he was sleeping with a married woman. But he's on the court stand. He broke down crying. They had to give him a recess because all these texts are showing this 2-year-long affair off and on and all their private conversations. Okay, now she told him at one point, this is about a month before she allegedly killed her husband, wouldn't it be great if Eric was just gone and it was just me and you? And we can live in that house that I'm trying to, that mansion. She bought some kind of $12 million mansion she's trying to move into and rent out as an event center. And the rest of the houses she's going to flip and they're going to live happily ever after. And she's bad at flipping houses. For some reason, this woman can't move a house. I don't know what's going on, but she was so overextended in debt. There's no way she was going to get out of that debt. So what she was doing, she took out a life insurance policy behind her husband's back. And then he had life insurance policies for his boys. And what he did was he put his sister on there. So again, he did not put his wife on anything. And then he put a life insurance for his business partner, Bryce. In case something happens to me, Bryce, my part of the business will be covered so the business doesn't go under because of our partnership. You get you get part of that life insurance. You get that life insurance policy. Bryce said, okay, and then I'll do one for you. In case something happens to me, that one goes to you. This is for the sake of the business. We're trying to keep the business afloat. So they had life insurance policy. He didn't have anything for her. I think he didn't. Maybe he left her a small policy. I'm not sure, but all the policy stuff went to Bryce, his buddy for business, his sons. He had, money in a trust. He put money away every month for his sons. So he said that their college would be paid for and that there'd be a little left over when they graduate, if they wanted to put money down on a house, if the boys each wanted to buy their own homes. He was a smart businessman and he was always planning for the future. So what happened was, I'm laughing because Katie was on the stand. She talked about how, when his wife the next day, matter of factly, started talking about business, talking about, so we're going to sell this house. She said, the house where the kids grow up in, the house we're standing in right now, my brother was just wheeled out of here 24 hours ago. You're talking about selling this? Yes, I'm going to be selling it, And Katie didn't say anything. I guess Katie said, you about to find out that I'm in charge of this house. It's in a trust and I'm the one in charge of it. Okay, so Katie didn't say anything. The boy said, I want my dad's Apple Watch. Okay, the little boy, because the dad just died and they're traumatized. She took the watch, deleted everything. Katie watched her delete everything off of that watch and then handed it to the son. Then when they get to plan a celebration of life, Katie's mother interjects at the planning thing and said, well, aren't we having him cremated? She said, no, we're having him buried next to my mother. He's not being cremated. The sister Katie said, that's not, and her father, Eric's father said, no, my son didn't want to be cremated. They're trying to get rid of evidence because she poisoned him, you guys, with fentanyl. And they got the drug dealers and the people up there she bought the fentanyl from. They're testifying about her and what she was asking them to do. And, she put fentanyl in she made him a drink or something. And it was a lethal overdose and he died. So that's how she allegedly killed him. You guys got to watch it. It's on 48 Hours. There's so much I can't go into, but just get the scenario. She killed him allegedly. She's on trial. It's fascinating. And Katie got up there today. She was there 3 days ago. I'm just now catching up with the trial, but told everything about her reactions, how Corey was acting, how she was just so matter of fact. It was like, okay, and I'm selling this house and then I'm doing this. And she was talking about, she said, I know you're not, and Katie said, I know you're not talking about closing on that mansion house. My brother's body is just wheeled out of here 24 hours ago. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm doing because after all, it's my house. The loan is already, the closing is already escrow's closing. And she was talking like, cause all this money, right? She's thinking that she's getting, when she found out that sister was in charge of all that money, the boy's trust, the sister's executive, the sister's in charge of everything. Money was left to the sister because he felt she would be better at protecting his sons than their own mother. So she's now on the phone. They played a recording of a phone call where she's on the phone calling his buddy Bryce, crying and saying, Katie's trying to put me. You guys got to listen to this phone call. And she's very profane. Everybody knows I can curse, but this woman was cursing, saying, Jesus Christ, effing this, GD. Oh, she was going off and crying. I just can't believe they're going to put me out of my house, my home with my sons. But Katie sat up there and testified and said she was selling that house. So what's all this crying to Bryce? I just want my home. This is where I raised my sons, Bryce. And I know you have loyalty to the the Richens family, Eric's family, because you've known them longer. And this phone call, y'all, I was enjoying this phone call. I was enjoying it because I thought this is exactly what you get. Eric, may you rest in peace. If you're looking down from heaven right now, I know you got a smirk on your face. I know and I love me some Katie. Woo! She got into a fist fight with Katie because she went over there to try to open the safe. And Katie said, get away from that safe. And she said, I want to see the will. Something happened where they got into a push-it or a wrestling match over trying to get into that safe. She said, there's nothing in here for you. I have the keys to that safe. You're not getting anything in that safe. Katie, Eric, you are a smart brother. And Katie got on the stand and broke down. They kept asking her about Eric and how they grew up. And she kept breaking down. She was so emotional. She said, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull it together. They were so close. They were such a close family. And that girl, Corey, thought she had that money. I think he had $7 million for the boys or something like that. He had another $3 million in the house. I don't know. The business, $3 million in the business. $3 million saved for the boys, $7 million in the business. It's a bunch of money that was broken down. And she's on this phone call crying with her best friend in the background, trying to help her pull it together. She says, Bryce, the best friend, took the phone. Bryce, we're just saying that the Richens family, they're kind of being unreasonable. They want to put her out of the house. And this is where the boys grew up. And now they're going to court saying I'm a bad mother. And it's like they're trying to take my boys. I just was drinking. We all hung out and we were drinking. And they said that so-and-so had to put the boys to bed and stuff because I was drunk or whatever. And I'm not a bad mother. And I was just, drowning my sorrows. And we were all there. DJ was there. She was naming the people there. My kids weren't being neglected. And they're trying to take them. I want to say, lady, they're not taking them because you had a night of drinking. They're taking them because you murdered their father, you idiot. Like the Brown family that took the Simpson kids. You can't keep my nephews, lady, if you killed their dad. That's not happening. That's not happening. You are a horrible human being. Let's not even talk about mother. You just a horrible sack of human being. Okay, so what I realized is that she has a gambling addiction. She's a gambler. That's why she couldn't stop compulsively buying these houses and thinking, I'm 1 second away from the next big deal. I'm 1 second away from the next big deal. This is her mindset. And that's why she was so overextended in debt with these houses she hadn't flipped. She had these grandiose ideas, and that's why she stole $250 from her husband. And then she turned around and tried to get him dead, kill him, so that she can get all the life insurance policies and all the equity and all the homes that he had, all his real estate investments. She was trying to get that money, and that man was smart enough. He said, you fooled me once. Shame on me. Fooled me twice. No, I'm doing a George Bush. You know what I'm saying? That old saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, fool me twice, shame on me. Okay, that's the one. The second one is me. So Eric knew, you fooled me the first time, you're not going to fool me this time. And he protected his assets. He protected his boys. He protected his business. And his sister is the gatekeeper. And she's sitting on that stand and she's telling everything. And if I had to audition a sister in my life, Katie's going to win. Katie Richens in Utah. She's going to win. And I just want to say, if you guys are not watching this, there's different podcasters that are covering where they have clips. So if you don't have time to catch up on the whole thing, you can always go to 48 hours and just type in Corey Richens. It should pop up, the story. And it might even be on Dateline, but I know for sure it's on 48 hours. And, she's now sitting here and her friends are getting up testifying. I saw about 3 of her girlfriends testifying different inconsistent stories that she told. And the friend said, well, she told me she broke up with him. What's his name? The guy she was having an affair with, but she hadn't broken up with him. So the lawyers find this very interesting. The prosecutors find, why did you lie and say you had broken up with that dude? What would be the necessity of lying when you were still seeing him? Because she didn't want people to attach a motive to the killing and say that she was killing him because she wanted to be with that guy. So she tells her friends, oh no, I broke up with him. Then when it's time to testify or something ever goes down, the rumor on the street is, I don't have a lover. I'm just a poor widow. I'm not seeing anybody. I think that was the PR campaign that she was doing. And you guys, that phone call, I love that phone call because she was crying. I listened to that phone call last night till I fell asleep. She was crying. I want to say, you don't care anything about that house. You told Katie you were going to sell that house. So why are you on the phone with Bryce crying, talking about, I just don't want to be put out of my house? No, you mad because you can't sell that house. You didn't care where those boys were going to live. You were going to uproot those boys. You're going to run away with that man you're having an affair with. And that was going to be the end of it. And it backfired. Your little plan backfired. So I just want to say I'm very happy when people are getting their just desserts. So she's still on trial. But it's like the Donna Adelson trial. It's one of those things where you know that the person's going to be convicted and it's just a matter of time. They're going through the process because that evidence and those testimonies, they're mounting. And you guys, she had the nerve to write a children's book after she killed the dad. I remember seeing her on Good Morning America saying, this is a book I wrote for my boys, because grief is hard for parents to talk about grief. And I figured I'd write a book for other parents when they lose a loved one and how to break it to your children about. She was actually exploiting the fact that she had murdered her husband and wrote a children's book and was touring around the country promoting this book and getting accolades. And I'm sure people bought that book because they saw that and said, oh, this is a good thing. Poor widow, poor lady. Ooh, you guys got to see these text messages. You won't be saying poor lady. It's like the Murdoch trial. You know the Murdoch trials? Remember those trials? It's that kind of trial where you're watching different people that are all the moving parts. The people who knew her, the conversations, the text messages, the recordings, the upbringing, the community itself. I felt like I knew the Murdoch community after I watched that trial. So yeah, it's very fascinating. Kouri Richins, Kouri, and then Richins is Riccihins. I believe it's 2 C's in Richins. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. This probably will be on my podcast, one of the episodes. But Katie Richins, the sister-in-law, she is holding it down, you guys. She's an awesome sister, and she doesn't play. Very well spoken, tells it like it is, honest, has integrity, and she's going to protect her nephews, and she's going to honor her brother's memory and his wishes. And I would like to give her some flowers. All right, you guys, have a good day. Bye bye.